The future of TikTok in the U.S. is not clear after lawmakers from both parties grilled its CEO for 5 hours yesterday about whether China's Communist Party controls the Chinese-owned company. Intelligence officials have been raising alarms about the company's collection of personal data from its 150 million American users and its ability to use algorithms to spread Chinese propaganda.
Has ByteDance spied on American citizens?
I don't think the spying is the right way to describe it. Congresswoman, I have seen no evidence that the Chinese government has access to that data. They have never asked us. We have not provided.
Well, you know what?
I
find that actually preposterous.
The American data has always been stored in Virginia and Singapore in the past. And access of this is on an as-required basis by our engineers globally. By engineers for business purposes.
By engineers?
This is a private
ByteDance?
ByteDance.
The Communist Party?
No.
Has TikTok at any time sold precise GPS information collected from U.S. users? Yes or no?
We do not sell data to data brokers, if that's the question.
And joining me now is a member of that House Energy and Commerce Committee, Michigan Democratic Congresswoman Debbie Dingell. Well, Congresswoman, this was very contentious. TikTok CEO trying to ease concerns that his company is not a national security threat. And at one point, that was kind of extraordinary when he was asked about the influence of the Communist Party and whether he's been told by Communist Party members what to do at various times. He said he talks to a lot of people and he doesn't ask them their party affiliation, as though there were more than one party affiliation in China.
Andrea, I do think that yesterday was a disturbing day in that he confirmed a lot of people's suspicions in his not answering questions directly. I mean, I asked him if he would commit to not sell data down the road, and he gave a non-answer, which he gave multiple times. I do believe that the committee is united that we must do something about privacy. I will say there are members on both sides of the aisle that believe we need to ban TikTok. For me, individually, I'm not sure I'm ready to ban one company. I think we need privacy legislation across all platforms, and people really do not understand what is happening to the data that they generate every single day, and it's being used in so many different ways and becomes a weapon to their own personal security and our national security.
And the president has banned it from government devices, government cell phones and the like. But at the same time, you know, there are concerns, and the Senate bill, bipartisan bill in the Senate, broadens these powers to ban or control it over many platforms, not just TikTok, for the precise reason you mentioned. Do you have some First Amendment concerns or issues? Because it's been raised by some of the people involved.
I'm very concerned about freedom of speech. But I also know that I think people of all ages, but our young people most definitively, what they're seeing is being filtered by people. They're trying to make sure that they get certain points of views. The kind of data that they're giving up on themselves, they have no idea how it's going to be used, from tracking them to what healthcare issues are that could get from genes. I mean, we're starting to get healthcare information that can impact people applying for jobs, getting insurance down the road, medical access, what kind of medicine they might get, to the national security issues. And I really do believe that people have no idea about what is happening with how they use their devices every single day, which is why I don't believe it's only a TikTok problem. Although I will say TikTok is got a relationship with the Chinese government. China is not always a friend of the United States, and it does become a very serious national security issue. So how do you balance freedom of speech with personal and national security?
And China does have a law that enables the government to reach down into these companies as a matter of practice. I want to ask you something else is happening today in the next hour. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia is leading a congressional delegation today to visit January 6th defendants held in a D.C. jail. Two freshman House Democrats, Summer Lee and Jasmine Crockett, are going along to observe, to truth tell, because there can't be any pictures taken, and they want, and the Texas Congresswoman Lee is a former public defender, for one, and she wants to point out the comparisons to what she has seen in jails where brown and black people are held in Texas.
Look, I think that January 6th was an assault on our democracy. My opinion has not changed, and I'm very disturbed by the rhetoric that Donald Trump has been. He's been dialing it up in the last 2 days, and I'm very worried about what could happen. The people that are in jail because they violated basic laws in our country. They hurt and killed policemen. There are more than 120 law enforcement that are still paying the consequences. They did damage to the Capitol, and they came to attack our democracy. That is a reality. I admire these two freshman Dems for going so that we do get the truth of what they are seeing. And I just want people to look at the picture. Don't take anything to any of our search things. Look at what you saw happen at the Capitol on January 6th, how people died, how it was an attack on our democracy, and how we need to pay attention to that, and that people trying to encourage violence again. Not okay. And don't let them attack our democracy. And please, let's all work to protect it and stay calm.
Congresswoman Debbie Dingell from Michigan, thank you. And I should point out, it's Congresswoman Crockett, the freshman from Texas, who's a former public defender and has been so eloquent on this. So thanks again to you. And the Chinese Foreign Ministry, by the way, rejecting the U.S. criticism that emerged at that hearing.